Hello and welcome, or welcome back. In today's video, we're going to explore a building with over 800 years of history, the spectacular Salisbury Cathedral. The cathedral is located in the city of Salisbury in Wiltshire and is regarded as one of the best examples of English Gothic architecture, as well as boasting the tallest spire in Britain, standing at an impressive 123 metres. At this early stage of my visit, the weather suddenly took a turn for the worst. So let's go on a whistle-stop tour of Cathedral Close before making our way across to the cathedral. Now, Salisbury Cathedral Close is impressive in itself, as it holds the record as the largest cathedral close in Britain at 80 acres, and contains many different architectural styles and other visitor attractions, including Montpesson House, owned by the National Trust, which is a stunning example of Queen Anne-styled architecture. So before we get caught in the rain, let's make our way across the close to the cathedral. Here we are at the base of the nave of Salisbury Cathedral. And if we turn around, we'll see the great west doors directly behind us. Looking up towards the west front stained glass windows, we can see a small group of visitors at the beginning of a tower tour, which is led by one of the cathedral's knowledgeable guides and culminates in a visit to the base of the cathedral spire and magnificent views of the city below. As we make our way across the nave towards the north transept, we can see an interesting and detailed model that illustrates how the cathedral was built and the sorts of activities that would have been going on at this site during the 13th century. Construction of the cathedral began in 1220, and the main body of the building was completed in 1258. The spire was completed in the year 1330 and has remained the tallest church spire in England since 1561. Moving further along is an incredible example of the world's oldest and fully functioning mechanical clock. This medieval iron-framed clock is believed to date back to 1386 and would have been used by priests to help keep religious services on schedule. Unlike the clocks we're used to today, this one has no face or hands, but tells the time by striking a bell every hour. Here we can see the weights mechanism, which is wound up daily. As we make our way back down the nave, we'll walk by the font, which is an imaginative example of modern art, which uses water to reflect the beauty of the surrounding cathedral's elegant stone pillars and beautiful stained glass windows, such as these on our left, which show servicemen and women in their World War II uniforms. Here we are at the foot of the choir, having made our way down the nave, where we can now see the 13th century choir stalls and the high altar. Making our way to the left beyond the high altar is the morning chapel. Finally, we've made our way along the length of the cathedral to the stunning Trinity Chapel. If you're enjoying this video, please consider clicking the like button and subscribing to the channel for more historical content. Located at the eastern end of the building, this striking blue stained glass window is referred to as the Prisoners of Conscience window and was installed in 1980. Unfortunately, as today is rather cloudy and dark, we can only imagine how spectacular this window would look on a bright, sunny day with beams of light shining through. But having said that, even on a dark day, these windows are lovely to look at and full of vibrant and eye-catching colours. Alongside Trinity Chapel is a very large and very grand marble tomb. Notice the two figures in the centre. Unusually, the lady featured here is positioned higher than her husband. This is because the lady is no less than the Lady Catherine Grey, whose sister, Lady Jane Grey, was proclaimed Queen of England for 9 days before being removed from power and later executed on the 12th of February 1554. Lady Catherine is therefore placed higher than her husband owing to her family status and connections with royalty. Just alongside Lady Catherine's final resting place is another intriguing tomb, with 3 round openings on either side. This is known as a foramina tomb, and was once the final resting place of one of Salisbury Cathedral's earliest bishops, the Bishop Osmond, who was canonised in 1457. In line with Bishop Osmond's new saintly status, the cathedral became an active place of religious pilgrimage, as people from up and down the country visited the cathedral in order to worship at his tomb. This is where the 3 round openings come in. The idea was that by placing an injured arm or leg through the opening to be closer to Bishop Osmond's canonised remains, the injury would be miraculously healed and that individual would be cured. Moving further down towards the south transept, we'll come across an unusual indentation in the stone adjacent to the choir. This is referred to as the bumping stone. When a new chorister joins the Salisbury Cathedral choir, in line with a long-standing tradition, his head is gently bumped against the stone 7 times in order to officially commemorate the occasion. At this stage in the tour, standing here in the choir admiring the great cathedral organ, I was thinking to myself how brilliant it would be if we could actually hear the organ being played. Fortunately, that's just what happened. Just beyond the high altar is a monument dedicated to the memory of Sir Edward Heath, statesman, musician and sailor, who served as British Prime Minister from 1970 to 1974. Heath lived at nearby Arundel's house in Cathedral Close, which he purchased in 1985 and lived in until his death in 2005. As we stand looking at this monument, you may notice a small, square piece of stone just behind it. You see, under the cathedral floor are foundations that are only 4 feet deep. In fact, the entire cathedral was built predominantly on gravel and water, and if the water runs too low, the architectural structure of the mighty cathedral sitting on top of it will become compromised. Consequently, the cathedral guides check the water levels daily by removing this piece of stone and using a dipping stick. Before we leave the main part of the cathedral, let's pause to take a closer look at a book that's over 500 years old. This Holy Bible was printed in France in 1521, and the pictures on the left-hand page tell the story of God's creation of the heavens and earth in 6 days. Notice the handwritten notes across both pages that have been left behind by previous owners. That concludes our tour of the main cathedral building, so let's head back outside and take a look around the cloisters. Just off of the cloisters is the chapter house, which is home to the Magna Carta. Whilst filming and photography are not permitted of the Magna Carta itself, what we can see are copies of the Great Seal that would have once been attached to the document, but has since been lost. During the medieval age, documents were only considered genuine if a seal much like this was attached to it. If you're interested in learning more about Salisbury Cathedral and visiting yourself, I'll leave a link to their website in the description. That brings us to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't already, I'd very much appreciate you liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more historical content. And for even more historical content in between videos, you may want to check out my Instagram at @thehistory_student, link in the description. And with that, it's bye from me, and as always, thanks for watching.